All right, so we're going to go over the major areas of changes for colors specifically. So what I'm going to do is start over here on pages, because you have naturally several different places within your website that colors would be changed. Again, we're going to go over some of the most basic ones. So we're going to start here on the TV production page. Let me scroll down a little bit. TV production right here. And then the first place is going to be with each section. Now, with each section, under normal circumstances, right? So if Smart Slider wasn't part of our discussion, which it will be here in just a minute, then this is where you would change the title segment. So the title bar, how it works is click the gear right here, and then here's where you change that color. If you're going to change the font color, that's where you change the font color. And that's pretty much it there. If you have something that hyperlinks to something else, then you could also change the link color and the hover color. This is within the section, so it would be like this right here. You wanted to change this green, then that's where you would do that. Now, if this was a Smart Slider instead, then that's going to be a little bit further into the video. Now this color here in your H2, that is going to be a global color. Now I'm pretty sure with the way that yours is set up that you have access to the customizer. And if that's the case, normally the customizer is not available for customers, but because yours is hosted on a separate website, you probably do. That is located under Appearance, Themes, and this are the global settings, right? So when you use H2 and it's not in a Smart Slider, then this is where you make that change. So I'm going to click on Customize. Then we're going to go to Colors. And then here are your primary colors up here that have been set for your theme. If you change, for example, this color right here, then anything that has that color all the way down through here will automatically update. That's providing the content inside just regular content. So for example, this right here, right? So that's not part of a Smart Slider. That's physically in the page. So if we go, here's your How It Works title bar, which we've already addressed, and then we click on How It Works the content, you'll notice this right here is at heading 3. So your heading tags in regular content, not Smart Slider, are going to be set in your customizer globally. So all the H2s are the same color and size. All the H3 are the same color and size. When you interject a third-party editor like Elementor, Smart Slider, Beaver Builder, all of those different ones, now you have to manually set those every time. Using it as just content is where you have global tools through your customizer. So if you say, I want to use this as the new updated color, you just replace that, and then everywhere that has that color will change to the new color. So if we come down here, for example, this is the, well, let's just get up to content. So here's where you can manually override that for heading 1 is that color, heading 2 is that color, heading 3 is that color, heading 4 is that color, and so on down through, if you want those colors to be different than what you've set here globally. Okay? And then same thing with, buttons. Buttons are overridden automatically, so you'll probably never use them here. Primary navigation has been completely overridden because you wanted to have a mega menu installed, so nothing in there matters. The header colors have been pretty much bypassed, except for the background color. That's black. For example, we come in here and change that to that color. That's what that looks like. We don't want that, obviously. We want the black. So we're going to go back over to 99999, or zeros rather. There we go. Same thing, you don't have a top bar right now, you're not using it, but this is where under global settings in areas where the actual theme builders being used, you would change those colors. So let's look at a few more places. Let's go back into our editor. I'm going to cancel out of here. And let's go over to Pages. Let's go to your home page. And then let's go to Logo Marquee. So I'm going to come over here again to the gear icon. Now, if you happen to click here, don't worry, because up here you just click Settings, just like that. Again, here's the background color of that section. There's no text here, so we don't have to worry about that, because the rest of those logos are being populated from here. And those are just little graphics that have been updated. But because you sent them as transparent PNGs, then you can change that background color to whatever you want, and it should work just fine. Okay? So let me cancel out of here. We'll look at the next example. So the most part, for the regular website tools, those are the places that you would go to make those changes for global fonts and background section colors that are green or gray or whatever color that they might be utilizing there on the home page or otherwise. Now, let's look at the Smart Slider. You're already familiar with the individual elements of. Now it's just one click over to understand where those colors are. So let's just click on one randomly here. I'm going to click on that one and then click on Edit. Okay. So here, if we click on this, and then we click on Style, Style is where our colors are at. So we have background color right here. Now notice the little FF. The FF is to the degrees of. Notice how that changes right there? So usually you don't have to worry about that. If you want it to be a gradient or something, then you can worry about that. Otherwise, this is the main number that you're going to replace. Then you have a hover color for buttons, for example. You click on the hover, and then you can change the color right here. It's the exact same process for the font color, where that's white. You say, I want it to be black on hover. You just click on hover and change that to black. If you want the font to be a different color, same process. Click on here, make sure you're under style. You can change the color of the font. If it's content that's hyperlinked somewhere, like in the footer, let's look at that one next. I'm going to click Dashboard. We're going to scroll down to the footer, or up to the footer rather. And then I'm going to click on Slide. So there's no background color because that's being inherited through the theme. So you don't have to worry about that. But if we click on this, we notice under Style, we have the color. And then we have the hover color. So if you want to change that hover color to a new color, you just click on it and then click hover and then change your color. You can choose one here, which I don't recommend, or just replace it, just copy, paste, drop it right in there. Now the beauty with this is now if you click on here, it keeps you in the same style. You just come in here and it just repetitiously, like we did before, you know, the last color change, you just click hover and change the color, and then click on this one, hover, change the color, click on this one, hover, change the color, click on this one, hover, change the color, and just keep doing that until you get done, and then click Save. Right? So piece of cake when it comes to that. Same thing with these over here. You'll notice that this one doesn't have the same colors as this one, because this was an icon, this one's an image. I couldn't find a TikTok in any of the font programs that the program offers. Just not available. So I put a graphic in there. So most people, they won't even notice that there's not a hover color there. If you didn't want to do, if you wanted to make it less conspicuous, then you just remove the hover color from these, just by clicking on that, and then again coming up here under the icon style, then click on the hover, and then swapping out the color. Or actually, that's under the content right here. Here's your hover color, here's your main color. Here's your hover color, or here's your main color, here's your hover color. Here's your main color, and here's your hover color. Here's your main color. So again, it's just knowing where things are in the toolbox to be able to swap those out. So when it comes to text, style, change it to hover, change that. If you wanted to change the primary color, then you just change it there. Let's look at one more here, and that's going to be just under one of these heroes. We'll click on Edit, and then here. Now there's no color to change here because you added a background graphic, which is fine. But let's say you wanted to change this color. You click on Style. There's your color. You want to change it to hover. Don't know why you would, but let's say you did. You just click on hover. Anything that's live, dynamic text is going to give you the opportunity to change the color and hover color if possible or necessary. Now this right here is different. Notice that it's a short code. That short code tells us where it's pulling from, which is formidable. This is a form. So there's nothing really to change here by way of any colors. You're going to make any changes to color scheme or anything inside of your form. Now this is put in here because of a div code. Those are located down here at the bottom under HTML. Just in the back of your mind in case you ever want to add an extra functionality to this, such as a sliding gallery or a YouTube video or something like that. Is going to be done beyond the regular tools just by adding that extra functionality into it. But again, when you see that, there's nothing to change. There's no colors to change because there's no style associated with that. Because when I click on style, you notice there's no color options, right? So that's going to be wherever it's at. All right, so we're going to come back into here. And I think as far as color changes, that will cover it. If there's something on the site that you see that you're not 100% sure where to change the colors on, screenshot it, point an arrow at it, and shoot it over to me, and I will send back a screenshot showing you where those color options are, or a video like this showing you how to change it.